Check it out.
Something that I've always wanted to do was to have a custom font of my own handwriting. That way I could type something into the computer, print it out, but it would kind of look like it was something that I wrote. I recently remembered about this and started doing some research. What I found was everything kept pointing back to the same website. It's a site called Calligrapher, so it's not ER, it's just R at the end. Whatever. And they have a free trial that you can do. You can only do one font at a time, and you can only have a couple variations. You can only have 75 characters, so there's some limitations. But hey, it's free. And if it's something you really like, it's not that expensive to get a 1-month trial membership, and then you can do a whole bunch of stuff. The way that this works is you go to their website. I'll put that down in the description so you can get there, and you print out a template. I'll go through this and kind of show you how it works. You can create a template to the characters that you want to do, which when I first did this, I didn't realize that it was doing that. Anyway, I figured it out, printed out my templates, and I got a couple of them here. Let me show you real quick. They're both filled out. You can make these different sizes depending on how big your handwriting is. They recommend using more of a felt tip marker, which I don't really have a good one, so I used just a regular old Uniball. Not my favorite pen to use. It is what I like using when I do a signature, so it has a little more thickness to it. Let's go ahead and go into the Calligrapher website. I'll show you how to get set up for your template. Once you do that, you download it, you print it out, you fill it out, and then you scan it, upload it back in there, and you create your font. So let's head into the website, and I'll show you quickly what I did and how that worked. This is the home page of the Calligrapher site. It's very easy to do. It'll walk you through everything you have to do. You will need to create an account, so you'll have to give it an email address, some basic information, and you can go through and look at the pricing and the different features, that sort of thing. We're just going to go ahead and do our basic upload of the templates that we had printed out. I'll show you how that works and go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and click Start App. And from here, it really walks you through exactly what you need to do. You need to create a template, print it out, fill it in, scan it, upload it, create your font, build your font, download that, and you're all done. So it's all pretty straightforward. I'm already logged in, so let's go ahead and go to the Create Template, and I'll show you how that works. Because we're using the free version of this, we are limited to 75 characters. I'm going to start with the minimal English, so I'll go ahead and click on that. And this is what I have set up. This is all the characters I'm getting. I want to make sure I have the numbers because that's something I use frequently, so I'll add those in there. Now, if we look at the lower right-hand corner, it tells us we have 70 characters. That means I have 5 more that I can add to this. We can go into our arbitrary characters and add a few more things. What I want to add in would be things that I use somewhat frequently. What I had chosen to add in was the $sign, the %sign, the asterisk, the plus, and the slash. So I just typed those characters in, and I will say add. We can go ahead and close this. We look down here, I have 75 characters selected. I've got my numbers. I've got my upper and lowercase letters. Got colon, semicolon, period, comma, apostrophe, quote marks, exclamation, and then the ones I added. So I've got $sign, %sign, asterisk, plus. Where's my minus? I don't see that anywhere. Go ahead and get rid of a couple of these. I very rarely, when I'm handwriting, use a colon or a semicolon. So let's go ahead and get rid of those. And in my arbitrary characters, did I not tell it I wanted that? I want a dash or my subtraction. We'll go ahead and get that added in. We'll say add. What else am I missing? I'm using my cheat sheet from what I did before. Did I only ever do 24? Ah, there we go. We're missing the question mark. And the @ symbol. Good grief. What else did I get rid of? I only have room for one more character. Okay, I'm confused. I just added 2 characters, but it says I have 75. And I had 75. Whatever. This is my character set that I want. I've got my special characters that I want. I've got my question mark and my @ symbol. I've got my plus, minus, multiplication, division, period, comma, apostrophe, quote marks, exclamation point. Okay, this is what I want to create. To do that, my next step then is to download the template. So I click on that, and I can download this as a PDF file or a PNG image. I can affect the size of the cells. This is something you'll want to play around with to get something that fits in with your handwriting. For me, I did lower this 1 click so that it was a little bit smaller because I tend to write fairly small. I did want the help lines, and those were basically just some really light horizontal lines to show your main area that your lowercase characters would be in. And then both above and below that, it has a couple more divisions where you basically would have like your lowercase t would rise up into that, and then capital letters can take up quite a bit more space. Something you can play around with. So I went ahead and did this as a PDF file, and we can change the name of it. We can call it Calligrapher Template, and you could put in your name. You can put in a version, whatever you need to, and then click download. Once it's created, it'll ask, for me, it's going to ask me where I want to save this. So download my template. Yep, so I'll go ahead and click on this and save it. Once you have your template printed, you'll want to fill it out. I printed 2 of these. It will let you do 2 versions of each character, so I just went through and did it twice. That way I have a couple versions of each. Let me go ahead and upload both of those into a new font. Okay, so we'll upload the template. Let me browse for that. And there's an automatically clean the templates. Not sure if that's really going to help me or not, but I'll leave it checked. I have 2 files, so I've loaded them both. We'll go ahead and click upload. And there we go. I've got a preview of each one of my characters. It's grouped them all together. If I don't like the way something looks, I can go ahead and delete it right away. I do know that one of my Z's turned out really poorly. I used whiteout to get rid of it. I redrew it on there. Well, it was hard to write on the whiteout, so let's just delete it. I don't like it. You know, it looks like there's a couple issues on some of these letters. There's some extra stuff on the J. At a quick glance, everything else looks okay-ish. There is a methodology for editing, and I guess I can't do that here. So I'm going to add these characters to my font. And there we go. Pretty straightforward. Now look on the I. I've got this extra character here, or extra fish. I don't know what this is. Probably a speck of something on my scanner. I should really clean that up. So I can edit the character and come down to my eraser, and I can just erase that extra little chunk, and we'll save that. We'll go ahead and do that to both the letter I's. Make sure that they're nice and clean. I can go through each one of these characters and do the same. If there's a character that you like quite a bit better than the other, so for instance here, this exclamation point isn't as good as this one, I'm going to make that my default. if your characters don't really have a whole lot of difference, or you don't care which one gets used most of the time, you don't have to select a default. The nice thing is it kind of randomly will switch between the two. Anyway, you don't need to watch me do this. I'll just go through, and that's something that you can do on your own. This is what my font looks like. It does say that there's 2 of each of these, except for the Z. There's only one, because there was only one of those that I liked. And I don't know about this slash. That's awfully big. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So when I get a slash, it'll always be that one. Now that I have this, I can go ahead and, let's see, what do we have for edit details? All right, so the letter spacing I found was much too big. So I reduced this, oddly, way down to 20%. I just found that the letters were too far apart. I'm going to leave the spacing alone for the font size and the word spacing. I think that works just fine. So go ahead and save that. Now that we have all this, I can go ahead and tell it to build the font. I can give it a name, and I can call it whatever I want. I'll just call it My Font 1. With the randomized characters turned on, that embeds something into the font so that when you're typing, it will decide which one of these to use. Go ahead and build it. So here's a preview. It kind of looks like my handwriting. There is an option to do a size comparison. And here's what a couple different fonts look like along with my font in the middle. So looking at some of these, my slash isn't nearly as big. Most of my characters aren't quite as big as most of the standard fonts are, but it's consistently not as big. So it's not a problem. Up on top, I do have a link to either a TrueType font or an OTF font. I went ahead and stored the OTF, so I can just click on that and save it. Simple as that. On a Windows machine, all I have to do is double click on the font and it will load it onto my computer, and it's available and ready for me to use. Well, now that you've gone through the process, you've got a font that's in your handwriting. You could also make stuff up. It doesn't have to be your handwriting. You could make up characters and use that as some sort of secret code. Anyway, this is lots of fun. Simple to do. Just print out your template, fill it out, upload it into the website, and generate your font. If you really get into it, buy it for a month. Make a whole mess of fonts. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for checking it out.